Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hope and Coffee. I am sitting on my couch today instead of my desk because I just wanted to change the background just a little bit. I have a painting that I picked up when I was overseas. This artist was such a lovely guy. He was absolutely stunning, and this particular picture is one that really reminded me of, honestly, it reminded me of Aladdin and Agrabah. So I loved the colors and the way he kind of did all the little blocks and stuff. And you can't see, but right above it, I actually have kind of a night version. Let me see if you can kind of see. There's a night version of it right above it. Anyway, those are two paintings from the same gentleman. This is his little signature right here. This is just my new little background for the moment as I bring you the next episode of Hope and Coffee. And today I kind of had two different thoughts, but I may shift gears a little bit to kind of talk about a combination of the two. So I had a little bit of a hard weekend. It was mentally a little bit of a hard weekend for me. And so I had considered going through and I had found an article about like emotional resilience, but then I had also found an article about kind of how you can tell if someone's pretending to be happy, but neither one of those really felt right. So what I decided I wanted to bring to you today was an article about stress outlets and ways that I've been actively trying to seek ways of helping myself work through some of my stresses when I'm by myself and when I'm not able to be like kind of around other people and able to socialize with other people. And so what I'm trying to do in those situations, because this weekend it was just kind of me sitting here in my apartment with my puppy and working through those things. And I think that's okay sometimes. But that's what today's episode is going to be about, are stress outlets. And I want to talk to you about what I utilize. Now, you are able, of course, to find any sort of stress outlets you find work best for you. It can be your favorite hobbies. It can be things you haven't picked up in forever. Find something that it can even be something kind of monotonous. It can be something that maybe even kind of boring a little bit, but something that's able to take your mind off whatever it is that's maybe lingering in your brain. Sometimes I'll even use a video game that's a little bit, a little bit kind of mind numbing. And that's sometimes what I'll utilize. This weekend, that's not what I used, but I've played Disney's Dreamlight Valley, which is really more of kind of what I call a general slice of life game. You just go around, you talk to the characters, you complete little random quests, you collect items, and you move on. There's really nothing too hard hitting about it. So there's really no pass fail. It's really just collect an item and you move forward to complete the quest. And sometimes it may take a little while to complete the quest, just depending on how long it takes to gather a certain number of items. So that's just one of my outlets that I can sometimes utilize. This weekend, one of the things that I did that I haven't done in a while is baked. I really wanted to do something that I could do with my hands, and I didn't feel like crafting so much, even though I have quite a bit of crafting material, and I have things like scrapbooking material, I have things that I can sew. And I've even been considering, I have a little hanging egg chair out on my patio that I can tell the cushion is starting to get faded by the sun. So I've been looking online to see about some new fabric to maybe recover that soon. But one of the things I did bake was fresh peach scones. And so I went and I got some fresh peaches and made some fresh peach scones that turned out really, really well. And I had never made those before. And then I made something that I do really like. I don't want to say pretty frequently, but I have made in the past, and that was almond biscotti. And both of those turned out really, really great. And like I said, I really like baking. There's There's a science behind baking. I think cooking is a little like mad scientist. Like cooking is a little more a splash of this and a pinch of that, and it's very free for all. But baking is a little bit more like science because sometimes if you get those measurements wrong, especially when it comes to like your leavening agents and things like that, it can really throw your recipe off. Now there's a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to like add-ins or when it comes to sometimes your flavor extracts and things of that nature. But still you have to be cautious because your add-ins, if too much moisture is in them, then of course you can again bring in too much moisture if you're not careful and about taking other levels of moisture out to compensate and things of that. So, and then if you, like I added peach, so on, instead of adding vanilla, I actually added a touch of almond because I thought almond was going to complement the peach a little bit better, and it actually did. So those are some things you can kind of play with when it comes to baking, but it's all about adding and thinking about those complementary flavors that can really take away and add. So those are some of the things that I utilize as stress outlets. Now, one of the stress outlets I used to utilize a lot was writing. And it's something that here lately I've kind of gotten stymied with that I really want to get back into, but I also am finding that it's a bit of a stressor as well. But I want to start diving into it a little more, even if it's just 50 or 100 words a day, to start making that progress again, because I do so love writing and I want to start creating in that creative path again. Because I know once I can get it out on paper, I will feel so much better about it. But so finding those stress outlets that work best for you are really going to benefit you when you do find yourself in those moments where you're kind of sitting alone with your thoughts and you need a way to kind of vent some of that extra energy you have. Sometimes I use my VR headset and I'll do Beat Saber because it gets me utilizing some of that energy that I have without stepping outside of my own apartment. Or I keep a very small elliptical here in inside my apartment that has a very small footprint of about 2 feet by 2 feet, so it's about 4 square feet. Doesn't take up a very big footprint of space inside my apartment. I can push it to the side if I need that little bit of space, but again, I can put it to the side, I can watch TV and or put on a show and go at it for however long to utilize, again, some additional energy. But the baking allows me to, I can listen to an audiobook as I'm baking or anything like that. Reading also, but reading a physical book or even an ebook, you kind of need to focus on that specifically when you're kind of in that zone. But what about you guys? What do y'all use? What are some things that you use for stress outlets? And I'm thinking about things inside your personal space when you're like maybe just alone with your own thoughts. And that's when no one else is around. And I'm not saying going outside. This is not going for a walk. This is not going shopping. This is not going beyond your front door. What do you guys do when you are kind of in your own space by yourself and you're looking for ways to relieve some stress? But anyway, I'd love your opinions and thoughts. Reach out to me on one of my platforms. And if you've made it this far, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And I'll see you all on the next page. Have a great one.